Hello and welcome back to the Crictime Podcast. काफी time हो चुका है record करे हुए, but time difference between the World Cup happening in Australia and me being in England. I have to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch matches, but yeah, thankfully I've been able to watch a lot of those. Joining me today again, Kaushik. You were here last time as well when we reviewed India's chances in the World Cup, and this one is right after India's knocked out. So welcome to the podcast, firstly. And for those of you guys who haven't checked him out, make sure to check him out. Links is going to be in the description below, and follow us on all of our social media pages. But diving straight into it, Kaushik, how are you doing? How has it been so far? And your quick roundup of the World Cup right before the final tomorrow, against in England against Pakistan.
Yeah, hello. Nice to be back. It's been a good tournament overall because so many games and so many unpredictable results we got to see. Like Netherlands knocked out South Africa, then someone like Ireland also defeated England. So and Zimbabwe against Pakistan as well. We talked about it. No, we didn't talk about it. It happened after India versus Pakistan. So this has been a very good tournament overall. But yeah, in Indian team's point of view, it's again the knockout stage, the semi-final stage. They couldn't go through it, and it's again there is so much to talk about. Let's dig in.
No, yeah, honestly, there is a lot to talk about, and I know I might go on a rant here and speak a lot about the Indian cricket and how things have been handled in the last couple of tournaments. This one as well, so poorly done. So yeah, it'll be a great conversation to have. But beginning with India in the group stages, I think they were incredible. That loss against South Africa, वो तो ऐसा लग रहा था कि जैसे साउथ अफ्रीका को भी गेम नहीं जीतना है, इंडिया को भी नहीं जीतना है. दोनों को बस हारना है गेम वाला, पता नहीं क्यों ऐसा लग रहा था. But that big game against Pakistan was a great watch, and I think that's when the hopes were high. That's when Indian fans realized, you know what, this team can do something. अगर 56 of 20 balls or 25 balls in the way Virat Kohli played was incredible to see. So your quick thoughts on India in the group stage before that knockout, and obviously that Virat Kohli performances throughout the tournament itself.
Yeah, the group stage overall was a very good, terrific group stage throughout the tournament. If we see in perspective of every team, but in India's point of view, it was not convincing for me because again, you see, you needed a miracle kind of knock from Virat Kohli, especially in the last 3-4 overs in that game against Pakistan. Against that attack and against on that pitch of MCG, it was very difficult to pull off, but it was genius at work we got to see that day. Then again, we saw that they got the better of South Africa. But yeah, the bowlers did push the game till the end. But it's again, you see, Virat was looking good at that day as well. But none of the other batters went except Surya Kumar Yadav. Surya Kumar Yadav alone couldn't do much. So we know what happened in that game. And again, the Bangladesh game, I don't know what could have happened if Litan Das अगर continue करते वो I don't know what he could have done, what Bangladesh could have done for to India. And even Zimbabwe were very close to a couple of games to make a difference. So overall, in India's point of view, it was still not convincing because only two batters were playing throughout the group stage. Only two batters. You can't do that because we hear all the intent talks. We hear all the aggressive starts in the power play, but I don't think so. We got even 40 above once in the power play throughout the tournament. Even against Zimbabwe, we were struggling to score runs at a rapid pace at the early stages. But so that's what I was thinking because the batting point of view, it was a massive disappointment. Only Sky, then Virat and Hardik in the at the end in the semi-final pulled it off. Pulled it off, but uh, but the bowlers also got, I think, conditions were better for them. The conditions were really suiting them. Otherwise, what we got to see prior to the World Cup in Indian condition, we know how what was the form of our bowlers and spinners as well. If you see even the spinners. they were not convincing at all. So overall, the group stages was not at all convincing for me. It was all about two players and someone like Arshdeep as well, who got some bunch of wickets. But yeah, नॉकआउट स्टेजेस में वो चीज पकड़ ली इंग्लैंड जैसी टीम ने.
No, I think you're right in saying group stages weren't convincing because in a group where you've got three strong teams, necessarily, I wouldn't give Bangladesh. I wouldn't have given Bangladesh a very high chance before the World Cup. So when I looked at the groups, I would have said, Pakistan's a good game that India will have to beat, and then South Africa as well. So in तीनों में से कोई दो ही qualify करते, which was my kind of expectations or my kind of predictions before the World Cup. But India, as you said, that Pakistan victory wasn't very convincing, end tak gaya game, and it shouldn't have gone to that point. Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, they should have contributed in that game. We could have actually built up something, and we were lucky that Virat Kohli enjoys playing in Australia, and we saw that against Pakistan, South Africa against Bangladesh against. We saw that multiple innings, even in the semi-final as well against England. That 50 middle order batting that he played, yes, he's not explosive like Surya or Hardik was, but you need someone to settle in and come in and just play the middle overs, and that's what Virat Kohli can do. And एक बहुत अच्छी ट्वीट पड़ी थी कि where this tournament Virat Kohli kind of has played like an opener because पहले दो ओवर में he has been playing for India. So it's not been like power play में KL and Rohit have been hitting, but it's been one of those. Yeah, and against South Africa, that was a game that India should have won, in my opinion. I think so many drop catches, so many opportunities that India should have taken. Bangladesh was a close call. Agar Ravarish na hoti, maybe they would have been on track to win the game. And maybe if conditions weren't changed, I know there's a lot of controversy around that as well. So India didn't have an easy time coming out of the group stages, and in the end, it was going to be, if in the semi-final India are going to be able to beat New Zealand or England. And realistically speaking, I think a lot of fans knew prior to the match in the semi-final कि India के लिए मुश्किल होने वाला है. It's not going to be an easy task for India against England. And I know बहुत सारे excuses बन सकते हैं कि यार conditions were better suited for England या बुमराह नहीं था, ये नहीं था, वो नहीं था. But as an Indian fan, I look at that team and I go, well, इस टीम में इतनी डेप्थ होनी चाहिए कि अगर बुमराह नहीं है, अगर केएल नहीं परफॉर्म कर रहा है, अगर रोहित शर्मा नहीं परफॉर्म कर रहा है, अगर कोहली नहीं परफॉर्म कर रहा है, देयर आर प्लेयर्स हु कैन स्टेप अप एंड प्ले द गेम. I can't see this Indian team, you know, 30 games unbeaten T20 में या whatever wins they've got under Rohit Sharma's belt under T20. वो सब फायदा है, वो सब मायने नहीं रखता when you're playing a one-off game in a semi-final where all the practice matches you've had in the past 4 years coming up to this World Cup, or the last 3 years coming up to this World Cup, you think about it and you use your experience in these games. Like against England, expectations obviously high, pressure obviously high hoga. So you don't have to make 60, 70 runs in the power play. You don't have to have a ballistic power play the way Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul were trying the first few balls to hit it out of the park. You don't need that. Ek over aap aaram se khelo, do over aap aaram se khelo, and then you go ballistic after that. Um, you you take your chances when they're presented to you. You don't just hit on a good ball. Obviously, England, Sam Curran has been really good this whole tournament. So trying to attack him was just not the right idea or the right mindset that India should have had on that day. And that's what disappoints me more, where every time, if you look at the semi-final, final performances or the knockout stage performances, we've struggled in the top order. Our top order has always had a collapse. It's always been 20 for 3, 30 for 4. New Zealand in 2019, 15 May Australia against 13 May, I think one of the games as well. So in the final against Pakistan in 17, I think it was. So it's the same issue again and again and again and again. और उसमें कोई change नहीं है. कोई change नहीं है. Even now after the World Cups ended, लोग कह रहे विराट कोहली might retire from T20 cricket. Rohit Sharma might leave the test T20 captaincy. He might retire from the shorter format. But there's no talks about Prithvi Shaw coming into the side. There's no talks about KL Rahul, leaving the team. How many opportunities? And I don't know if you're a KL Rahul fan or not, but I'm very much against KL Rahul getting these many opportunities. Like Prithvi Shaw hasn't had the opportunities that he should have gotten. Sanju Samsung hasn't gotten opportunities. To me, I think Shubman Gill deserves more of an opportunity in T20s than KL Rahul at this point. Because if you're going off of IPL form, if you're going to look at KL Rahul and say, yeah, इसने IPL 2022 में इतने runs score किए थे, Shubman Gill was par with it. Shubman Gill at KKR, Shubman Gill at Gujarat Titans was par with KL Rahul, and he should have been in this squad. For me, KL Rahul should not have been in this squad in the first place. That Asia Cup was a drastic performance here against Australia as well. He struggled to make any and all runs. So for me, picking KL Rahul was just not a choice that should have been happened.
The thing is here, the thing is, I don't want to rant on KL Rahul just because the skipper himself hasn't delivered. Like, even if you see the past events, the past T20 World Cup events, even if you see 2016, the average was below 20. 2021, I don't need to say anything. Only against that Namibia and Afghanistan game, he scored. Pakistan New Zealand game, he failed. Then again, in this tournament, I don't need to speak much because it's in front of you. So when the skipper himself is not delivering or has been struggling in this format, and when Shikhar Dhawan got dropped, he was scoring runs for fun in IPL when Shikhar Dhawan got dropped, and KL Rahul was our number one batsman in T20s. He was scoring runs everywhere, but the only thing which gone against him, I guess, post-COVID pandemic, whatever cricket we have seen post-COVID, uh, we uh, we have lost, we kind of lost that KL round, which we used to have before that COVID, even in that New Zealand tour where we won 5-0 against them. It's a way back now because the amount of cricket we saw since then. So it's kind of feel like it's been a decade back, but it's been just 2 years and just two tournaments where KL failed, and again, see, that is the reason I don't rant on KL alone, because the skipper himself hasn't delivered
No,
at
really,
all.
it's not about just ranting on KL. I know I'm interrupting you, but sorry about that. But I think it's more of KR Indian. What is Indian cricket doing to show me कि यार KL Rahul के मेरे हम लोग के पास replacements हैं या हम लोग दूसरों को opportunities दे रहे हैं.
I'm coming there only. So the management, when we hear the new management is coming, we expect someone like Sanju Samson to get more chance, because the kind of image people made of Ravi Shastri management, that they do everything wrong. Okay, so okay, this management will come now and will do something different than what Shastri did. And we expected Samson to be one of the first names to go to Australia for this World Cup at the earlier stage of this year. Earlier मीन्स इस साल के मतलब शुरुआत में हम लोग को फरवरी मार्च में लग रहा था कि चलो वी हैव सो मेनी T20s in front of us prior to the World Cup, because last year we didn't got a single T20 series prior 6 months prior to the World Cup. We played only against England that home series, which we won, and directly we played to World Cup because of IPL and the test matches that happened in between. So this time we had all the preparation. The biggest mistake I don't understand that management. This management also didn't back someone like Sanju Samson. Uh, yes, you got rid of Shreyas Iyer, but why? Okay, that short ball problem is there, but he got runs. He got in. If ठीक है, तुम शॉर्ट बॉल नहीं खेलने वाले को लेके नहीं जा रहे हो, तो शॉर्ट बॉल खेलने वाले को तो लेके जाओ. If you're not taking him as well, I don't know how what made them take that decision. And again, we see you talked about the consecutive 12 and 13 wins under Rohit since the World Cup. The जो consistent winning streak हम लोग का चल रहा था. But you came up with Mohammad Shami and Ashwin just before the World Cup again. What was the logic? What was the point? I don't know. See, Herschel, yes, Herschel has been poor. He wasn't doing much great, but he was playing. And you have taken him to Australia, and we know how dangerous he can be when the dimensions uh, are bigger, means big boundaries of Australia. We know that. And Australia में थोड़ा बॉल रुकता भी है जब we go through the tournament. तो हर्षल का एक भी गेम नहीं मिलना, चाहल को भी एक भी गेम नहीं मिलना. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनली द गेम वी लॉस्ट अगेंस्ट इंग्लैंड. आई एम जस्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट द होल टूर्नामेंट एंड द होल बिल्ड अप टू दिस टूर्नामेंट. जैसे मैंने सैमसंग की भी बात की. सो अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस जो आती है अभी माइंड में, क्योंकि इफ यू कैन हैव समवन लाइक शामी फ्लाइंग जस्ट 2 days बिफोर द वर्ल्ड कप out of nowhere, then why not Washington Sundar as well? Because he also recovered from injury and he plays Shahid Mushtaq Ali Trophy. He plays Shahid Mushtaq Ali Trophy. He was our first choice spinner, finger spinner. Why you gone back to Ashwin again? I don't know what. Yeah, no disrespect to Ashwin. He's an absolute legend of the game, but we hasn't moved on. You speak about the approach, the aggressive approach. भाई कहने से नहीं होता भाई. You have to
करने से होता है.
execute. देखिए, हाँ, रोहित has more high risk shot percentage this time, but even his coach said that he needs to play his natural game. Okay, he missed that out. Kohli realized it, and we know how Kohli played this in this tournament. And going back to Shami, going back to Ashwin, is, this also speaks a lot about their mindset, their approach. I don't know if it was a decision of management or the selectors, but whoever was involved, it was a absolute, मतलब क्या बोले, कुछ शब्द नहीं है बोलने के लिए इस सिलेक्शन को लेके. बिकॉज यू आर प्लेइंग विद अ ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल थ्रू आउट द 12 months. ठीक है, समझ में आता है लास्ट ईयर जब 6 महीने में हम वी डिडंट प्ले अ सिंगल गेम. But this time you played like how many games? I don't even remember how many series they played. ठीक है, कितने players हम लोगों ने खेले. ईशान किशन played one of the most game, one of the those players who played like 14-15 games. You didn't carry them. You kept speaking about Rishabh Pant, left-hander, left-hander, left-hander. We need a left-hander. But did you try anyone else instead of him? Why no chance to Rinku Singh? Why no chance to any other left-hander? आपने ट्राई भी तो नहीं किया ना. ईशान किशन had his best season in the IPL as a left-hander in the middle order, not as an opener. Even when he's now he opened the innings throughout this year for India in absence of KL Rahul. He had a strike rate of just 120 in power play. That is not convincing at all. So आपने उसको मिडिल में क्यों ट्राई नहीं किया? Where he was a successful in Mumbai Indians. He had a best season in 2020 in the middle order. भाई बोलने से क्या होगा? आप यू डिडंट ट्राई ओनली. आप
वही.
हार्दिक पांड्या का भी बैकअप ढूंढ नहीं पा रहे अभी तक. इफ सम फॉर गॉड्स, मतलब फॉर्चुनेटली ही इज फाइन नाउ. बट व्हाट यू विल डू इन एब्सेंस ऑफ हिम? जस्ट लाइक व्हाट you struggled in absence of Jadeja now, because Akshar Patel is more of a bowler, but he couldn't even deliver as a bowler, unfortunately. I'm not going to say anything on him because uh, एंड दीपक हुड्डा ऑल्सो स्ट्रेंथ उसका कुछ और है, उसको रोल आपने कुछ और दे दिया. देन यू प्लेड दिनेश कार्तिक थ्रू आउट द ईयर, थ्रू आउट आफ्टर द IPL. देन यू press the panic button just before the knockouts and change it to Pant. पंत को भी आपने लेग स्पिनर के अगेंस्ट नहीं भेजा. in against England you played at the below 100 strike rate. They played against Livingston and Adil Rashid.
वही है ना. इट्स लाइक
Yeah.
कहना बहुत आसान होता है, और इंडियन क्रिकेट में बहुत बार होता है कि दिल भी लाइक कि नहीं, वी गोना ट्राई दिस पैन, दिस गाय, दिस गाय, दिस गाय, दिस गाय, बट एंड में होता नहीं है. एंड में संजू सैमसन को वेस्ट इंडीज लेके जाएंगे, वहां पे T20 खिला देंगे. ईशान किशन को ऑस्ट्रेलिया के अगेंस्ट खिला देंगे. whatever these players will play in series, और फिर जब वर्ल्ड कप की स्क्वाड अनाउंस होगी देन वो वही सेम KL राहुल होगा, वही सेम एग्जैक्ट प्लेयर्स होंगे, अक्षर पटेल एंड दिस एंड दैट, जो भी whatever. एंड अक्षर पटेल, मैं पहले दिन से कहते आ रहा हूँ, स्क्वाड सिलेक्शन के दिन से मैंने बोला था कि दिस गाय इज नॉट गोना वर्क आउट इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया. इट्स पेस पिचेस हैं. स्पिनर लाइक अक्षर पटेल is going to get hammered across every ground India play at, and where you are. And it's quite funny कि India के सारे, I guess one of the worst losses have been in Adelaide now. That 32 in test matches, this 10 wicket loss in T20s, ODI में भी ऑस्ट्रेलिया से एक बार हारे थे काफी बुरा. तो it's like Indian management outside of the World Cup speak a lot about these young players coming in, these players that they want to swap in the main team and get experience to. But then when it comes to selecting for the World Cup, they're very scared on testing anyone. And I think you'll agree with this as much as any other Indian fan will agree with this, but I'd rather lose out in a semi-final where players go down fighting. And when I say that, I mean youngsters who are hungry for World Cup wins. क्योंकि ये टीम ऐसा लगता है they come in, they just want to play the match, और कभी कभार इनका एटीट्यूड भी नहीं सही होता है. इट्स लाइक यार एक और गेम है, खत्म करते हैं, चलो घर चलते हैं, whatever this is. At the end there is no hunger of winning. There is
Yes,
no
this
yeah,
is what
there
I
is
meant.
हाँ
Yeah, you keep going back to Shami and Ashwin. You
वही.
don't get that that hungry. See what Arshdeep did. See, it's the same thing happened in World Test Championship as well. The players who won you the GABA, अगर उनमें से अगर दो को भी खिला देते, then who know क्या होता. हमको नहीं पता क्या होता. सिराज अगर वर्ल्ड टेस्ट चैंपियनशिप फाइनल खेलते, see, Bumrah had a terrible final. हाँ, Bumrah had a terrible final, but I'm not going to blame Bumrah, but it's all about भाई इतने दिन से खेल रहे ये सब वापस इन्हीं को लेके आते हैं हमेशा.
एग्जैक्टली. गैबा में ऑस्ट्रेलिया को हराना, एंड आई नो फॉर्मेट अलग है, ये अलग है, व्हाटएवर, बट उसमें उस टीम में कोई फियर नहीं था. It was like, if we lose, we lose. What's the worst that'll happen? We won't be the first team who's lost to the Gabba. But that 360 target was like nothing for these players. कौन सोच सकता है पंत आके वो करेगा, शुभमन गिल 93 बनाएगा डे 5 की पिच में, पैट कमिंस, मिचेल स्टार्क आ रहा है, 150 की बॉलिंग में, एंड रिवर्स स्विंग हो रही है, ओवरकास्ट कंडीशंस, एंड ऑस्ट्रेलिया इज अनबीटन. तो इट्स लाइक दिस टीम प्लेज विद फियर, एंड we don't have backups for players. कोहली का कोई बैकअप नहीं है मिडिल ऑर्डर में, हार्दिक पांड्या का कोई बैकअप नहीं है अभी इसमें, एंड रियलिस्टिकली बॉलिंग में भी कोई बैकअप नहीं है. बुमराह अगर नहीं था, we didn't see someone perform the way Bumrah does, and that is an issue that I've been raising for a while, that Bharat Arun was the guy for India in terms of scouting those fast bowlers, in terms of prepping those fast bowlers for games like these. And since Bharat Arun's left Indian cricket, we've seen a decline in how our fast bowling is. Bhuvi used to be 19th over specialist. Yorkers for Yorkers. The selection of balls was incredible with Bhuvi. So since Bharat Arun's gone, that's an issue that's been raised up. And this whole ideology of Indian cricket, where there'll be one captain throughout three formats, is one of the worst ideology to have as well. Because व्हाइट बॉल और रेड बॉल क्रिकेट बहुत अलग गेम है, दोनों बहुत अलग गेम है, और दोनों में अगर अलग अलग कैप्टन हो तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. अ लॉट ऑफ टीम्स हैव डन इट, इंग्लैंड हैव डन इट, एंड इट्स वर्कड आउट रियली वेल फॉर देम. तो फॉर इंडिया टू कम आउट एंड से कि नहीं, वी आर नॉट गोना हैव टू कैप्टन्स is quite concerning, because Kohli as a red ball, no one beats Kohli as a red ball captain in Indian cricket right now. And I think ODI में Rohit Sharma might, we will give him a chance in that 2023 World Cup that's coming up, which is not far off as well. And that's going to be an interesting talk as well, because वो तो इंडिया में हो रहा है, तो कोई एक्सक्यूज नहीं हो सकती कि इंडियन कंडीशंस नहीं है, या प्लेयर्स परफॉर्म नहीं कर रहे. आई मीन आईपीएल उन्होंने उसी पिचेस में खेला हुआ है जिसमें वर्ल्ड कप होगा. तो आई नो फॉर्मेट थोड़ा अलग है, बट for KL Rahul or Rohit Sharma and any other players who are not performing, that World Cup's going to be the World Cup to decide whether they want to be in the team or not. Because I feel like Indian cricket अभी 3-4 महीने बहुत अलग अलग ट्राई करेंगे, फिर उसके बाद वही केएल राहुल स्टार्टिंग में आएगा, रोहित शर्मा के साथ थर्ड में कोहली आएगा, और एग्जैक्ट सेम वही रहेगा. और अगर जडेजा आ गया, बुमराह आ गया, तो वो दोनों आ जाएंगे टीम में, बस वही दो चेंजेस होंगे. फिर पहले 5-6 गेम्स जीतेंगे ग्रुप स्टेज में, फिर उसके बाद रियलाइज होगा अरे यार नॉकआउट में फिर हार गए, या फाइनल में फिर हार गए. तो yeah, it'll be one of those to watch out for. Kaushik, World Cup coming up. I know this one's not gone to waste. A lot to learn from it, and I hope Indian cricket does learn from it, because अगर इसके बाद भी केएल राहुल को T20 में खिलाया जा रहा है, then I think this management really needs a reality check, because losing to England in that semi-final the way that we did, that's more annoying to me. I think अगर एक विकेट से जीतते या लास्ट बॉल तक जाता, I would have said यार fair play, दोनों ने बहुत अच्छा खेला, and it was just one off thing. But England, not once did India dominate the game. England ने दोनों innings dominate करी है. विकेट्स लेते जा रहे थे, पार्टनरशिप्स बिल्ड नहीं होने दे रहे थे। केएल राहुल, नॉट केएल राहुल, हार्दिक पांड्या राइट एट द एंड थोड़ा बहुत मोमेंटम इंडिया के पास लाए थे, फिर उसके बाद अगेन बॉलिंग वन स्टार्ट हुई, फिर पहले ओवर में 2-3 बाउंड्रीज पड़ गई, रियलाइज किया दिस इंग्लैंड टीम इज नॉट हियर टू मेस अराउंड। तो फाइनल बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होगा पाकिस्तान के अगेंस्ट। But before we get into the final, India's chances in the T20 in the ODI World Cup coming up in 2023, home advantage hai. Players hopefully will be back, and who would you like to see come into this squad and switch things around for India?
See, if I'm not wrong, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm hearing that KL Rahul don't want to bat in the middle order. So agar he wants to bat at top order, I don't know what management will take decision on it, but it will pave the way for Shreyas Iyer and Pant pair in the middle order, which will be very, very dangerous in my opinion. We need that pair. Again, आप स्काई को लेके आओगे, नहीं होगा भाई. भाई अय्यर has done nothing wrong to get out of that team. Even in T20, ठीक है, playing 11 में बनती नहीं उनकी जगह, fair enough, but you didn't even carried him as a in the squad. ठीक है, अगर अगर कुछ होता, केएल राहुल आउट ऑफ फॉर्म है, कोहली ओपन कर लेता, then शेरसेर could have batted at 3 easily. Easily he could have batted at 3. आप शॉर्ट बॉल जितना भी बोल लो भाई, he has runs in his pocket, in his bag. So he has. You should be concerned only about the runs and the way that it has been scored. You shouldn't be concerned about anything else. It's वो इतने बड़े लेवल पे खेल रहे हैं. He is मतलब aware enough कि क्या करना है उनको. तो इस पे ज्ञान देना नहीं चाहिए फैंस को ज्यादा, मेरे ख्याल से. And the other thing, Shreyas Iyer should be untouchable from this ODI setup at this moment. If he is not getting a place in the playing 11, I'm done with this team. First of all, then I think थोड़ा सा scarcity आ रहा है spinners में. So I would recommend to to look at players like Shahbaz Ahmed who can bat and bowl, because pure spinners काम नहीं आ रहे हैं हम लोग के लिए. Pure spinners काम नहीं आ रहे हैं, and leg spinner का भी era थोड़ा खत्म हो रहा है. ठीक है. If you have Rashid Khan also now, Rashid Khan also is not convincing कि वो है तो मतलब है, मतलब उसको कोई नहीं मार सकता, ऐसा ऐसा है नहीं. बट राशिद खान इज a different player altogether. He has been surviving as a leg spinner because he has that variation. He changed things up. He comes with new things every time, every tournament, every month. So he's a complete different player altogether. But we need players who can bowl and bat more. It doesn't matter pace all rounder or spin all rounder. We need more players like Shahbaz Ahmed. Shahbaz Ahmed अभी ODI setup पे आ रहे हैं. He needs to continue. He needs to get more chance. And जडेजा को भी देख लेते हैं because he is also getting injured more often than not nowadays. विराट को छोड़ के सभी NCA में रहते हैं आजकल. So वही बात है. And you gotta give chance to young pacers now. बुमराह को बुमराह को एज ए लीडर बनाओ, उसके अराउंड एक पेस अटैक बनाओ. दैट इज द ओनली थिंग आई एम गोना से. एंड लेफ्ट हैंडर, अगर पंत अगर फिर से लेफ्ट हैंडर का मतलब वो करने लगे, इफ यू आर गोना क्राई अबाउट लेफ्ट हैंडर अगेन. सी, तिलक वर्मा स्कोर्ड अ सेंचुरी टुडे. ओके. Then in Vijay Hazare Trophy. Then Rinku Singh is scoring runs under pressure. He has been a one man army for Uttar Pradesh. Then you got someone like Riyan Parag scoring century today, who can bowl, who has been so good with the ball this season. तो ऐसे players को आपको chance देना ही पड़ेगा. If you don't give, I don't have anything to say. And अगर श्रेयस अय्यर को फिर से हटा दिया टीम से, I'm done with this team, because he when he got injured against England in 2021, he till then he was the highest run scorer for India since 2019 World Cup. Then he got out of the team. Then he couldn't came back as a constant. But जब भी उसको मौके मिले, he has scored runs. Even in the recent South Africa series, which happened, where Shikhar Dhawan was captain, वहाँ पे भी उन्होंने runs बनाए, and he scored some tough runs. We all talk about the top three of Indian Indian team who always delivers. It used to happen till 2019 World Cup. After that, the top three has disappeared. After that, our middle order is scoring more runs and more centuries. And one of the reason is Shreyas Iyer and of course KL Rahul as well, because KL Rahul was playing at five back then, and Rishabh Pant as well. So you gotta build something around this guys in the middle order, because the middle order problem was there, and we know it costed the 2019 World Cup. And Shastri and Kohli management tried to be a bit constant with the middle order players, but after they left, again it's a khichdi kind of thing, which we call khichdi. The middle order में कौन खेलेगा कौन नहीं खेलेगा, because KL Rahul also disappeared in between. So अभी KL Rahul है, उसको पूछो if you want to play or not, because I think he will do a lot better in the middle order than opening, because and young अभी शिखर धवन भी है. शिखर धवन पता नहीं they want to continue him with him or not, so let's see. But Rohit Sharma has to deliver. He has to deliver big time.
I think मेरे लिए जो ideal जो मुझे setup लग रहा है ना for the World Cup at least is opening में Shubman Gill and Rohit Sharma is a good shout, and Gill has performed well. So for me that is a good option and a strong option as well. और उसका backup Shikhar Dhawan हो सकता है. And that because Shekhar's got the experience, and अगर एक दो गेम से realize होता है Sharma या Shubman's not performing, then we swap them out. Because yes, he's the captain, but at the end of the day, अगर captain हर game में 0 या 5 runs बना रहा है जिसमें you need the captain to perform, then you do have to replace him. Not as a captain, but as just one-off game just to see अगर कोई दूसरा setup ज़्यादा बेहतर है. I think Kohli को तो third से हटा नहीं सकते. That's his spot. That there is no question about that. Or I think Iyer fits in maybe at 4. I know Iyer की वो position नहीं है, but अगर middle order में उसको खेलना है, I try him at 4. KL could be one of the
नहीं, he
backups.
plays at 4 only. In 50 over he plays at 4.
अच्छा हाँ, sorry, हाँ, he plays at 3 in T20s, I think.
T20, his
हाँ.
best position is 3 in T20.
हाँ, तो Shreyas at 4, and then you've got KL as a backup in 5th में Pant, and then you've got 6th में you play either Jadeja if he's available, and you get another all-rounder in there. और फिर उसके बाद
Pandya is there, no?
हाँ पांड्या, sorry, हाँ पांड्या भी है. तो पांड्या and then Jadeja after that, और फिर उसके बाद you have three of your pacers, and for me those are very simple. Bumrah, Siraj has to play, and then you've got one of either. You go Shami maybe because he's good at ODI. Indian conditions में IPL में थोड़ा बहुत अच्छा कर लेते हैं तो वो है, and then you've got Harshal as well. Maybe you give him a shot. So India has a strong ODI lineup in when I see this on paper, but it'll be very surprising if India actually play with this lineup. Knowing India, वो KL राहुल को स्टार्ट करेंगे शर्मा के साथ, कोहली at 3, 4 में पंत होगा या दिनेश कार्तिक होगा, and then कार्तिक या पंत at 5th, and then 6th में हार्दिक पांड्या, because they're very stern with कि यार यही 5 है, यही 5 है, यही 5 है. So it's not going to work out, and we've seen it again and again. So India will have to switch things up as well for that World Cup. Honestly, there's a long way to go before that. I think we do play Australia as a test series as well.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's before or after the World Cup.
No, before February, March.
So yeah, so obviously red ball, but at least we'll get some games to watch on Indian pitches, and it'll be an interesting call for that one as well. I think a lot of main players will be rested maybe because World Cup aega, so there might be a lot of rotation even in the squad. So you might not see Kohli play all 4 matches. You might not see Sharma play all 4 matches. तो थोड़ा बहुत एक वो करना होगा, bowlers को भी maintain करना होगा as well. So Bumrah might be rested for every single game. So let's see what happens. Long way to go. Kaushik, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your thoughts. For those of you watching, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a like rating. Follow Kaushik on all of his social media pages. Follow us on all of our social media pages. And we'll try and return to regular podcasts every week, once at least, and see how it goes from there. But thank you very much for listening in and tuning in. And we'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe.